Hey everyone, VortexTCG here, and today I'm going to be showcasing you the first round matchup with me playing the sealed only Imperialdramon list from the second episode that I just uploaded, and my opponent's going to be playing Tyrannomon. And if you're looking forward to this video, please do like and subscribe to the channel, and go check out episode 2 of sealed only if you haven't. A really good episode, I feel. So we start off in this game and my opponent plays a BT11, and for my turn I go into the XVmon into the Tyrannomon, brand new card that I got from episode 2. Very good for my deck, obviously. A generic DNA Digivolution card is very strong for my strategy. And so it goes to my opponent's turn. He's got 3 memory at this point, and he goes for another BT11. I didn't really think much of the BT11 when I was looking at the deck, but it allows you to add, I believe, either a Tamer or a level 4. And obviously in a Tyrannomon strategy, finding either one of those is very important. So I kind of like the card. Maybe there's some better searches out there, but I think it's pretty decent as it is. My opponent goes to Tyrannomon and gets a Tiger, and I just pass here going into Imperialdramon Dragon mode, pulling out the Wormmon and the XVmon, which is pretty good. I mean, it allows me to essentially just build more board presence while, you know, he's still not being very aggressive, so I'm taking this to my advantage for sure here. And I think here he's lacking, I believe when he was talking about the game after, he was lacking a level 5, and so he doesn't promote here. He goes into another Tyrannomon, and then he goes into Woodmon. I'm not too sure about the Woodmon inclusion. I think a blocker is okay, but I don't think you play this blocker. I think you just end up playing the Tyrannomon just because it's cheaper, and sometimes you need a cheaper evolution in this deck. I swing at security with the Dragon mode and hit into a Woodmon, so gotta be careful about the more blockers. I go into XVmon in the raising, and at this point that's 0, so I'm going to give him like quite a bit of memory as is. So what I do here is I go into the Vmon, I then add the Imperialdramon from the top 4 that I searched. And yeah, what I've noticed throughout my gameplay and testing with my new sealed only deck is that it's much more consistent. When I was previously playing it, even though I did win the locals, this wasn't very consistent. There was times where I was just passing on very little. So pretty important that I have more consistency cards, like more Vmons in the main deck, and also Tamers, because I didn't have Tamers before. I know I'm not showcasing any Tamers at the moment, but it does make a difference. And so my opponent goes into another Tyranno here, gets to play another Tiger. I think what ends up happening is that this Tiger is actually way better than the other Tiger, because I think this Tiger overall just ends up being better for mana, for memory even, not mana. So I don't know. If you've played Tyranno, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm not 100% sure, if I'm being honest. And so I'm just being pretty aggressive here. He's at 2 security while I'm at 5, and I think this is one of the things that my opponent was not doing as much. I think he should have been more aggressive this game. He had like a couple of boards where he could have done a lot more, and I don't think he's being aggressive enough. I understand why he might not want to be aggressive, because he can't find a level 5 to go into a level 6, but I think in this situation, if you can't find your level 5s to go into your Rust Tyranno, which obviously, you know, Rust Tyranno is obviously very good, I think you need to start swinging and just keep on applying pressure. So I swing a security, hit a Tiger, I swing a security again, and swing for game. We then get into game 2, and I get to start off with a Vmon, and I also play another search of Vmon, which allows me to look at the top 3, and I add a Imperialdramon from the deck to hand. And so my opponent gets a decent amount of memory to start off with. He goes, I believe this is the Tyrannomon, goes into a BT11 in raising, and still got quite a lot of mana here. So he plays the Izzy and can't remember what the other character is, but essentially if anything's suspended, problem. So I swing a security, hit a Tyrannomon, and then I end the turn by going into TK. This is one of the big improvements of my deck in the Imperialdramon sealed only, is the fact that I have Tamers now. Previously, obviously didn't have Tamers, and now the fact that I'm able to have these Tamers in the deck is very important, because it just means that I can't get memory choked every turn, which was a big weakness of the previous version of the deck. Anyways, he goes to Tyrannomon, and he doesn't unfortunately have a Tiger, which is obviously very problematic, because you kind of want Tiger to go into things a lot more cheaper. So he then goes into the bigger Tyranno. I can't remember what this card's called. I think it's like Master Tyranno or something like that. But it basically essentially gives you security attack +1 and all your other Tyrannos security attack +1. So it's definitely a very good card in this strategy. And what I do here is that I just pass on to Imperialdramon. So pass the turn here, he goes into the Kawakumon. I believe that's what's called. Sure, you'd think by now I know a lot more Digimon card names, but I don't. He swings into security with the Rust Tyranno and hits a Megadeth, which is very unfortunate, because let's face it, like it never feels nice to hit into a Megadeth. It never does. Never ever. So he plays a Palmon here, and I do like the inclusion of these Palmons. And I believe, I don't know if he's playing the Vegemon, but the Palmon allows you to draw additional card, which is pretty cool. Sometimes you just need that advantage, and I feel like green doesn't get enough draw power. It goes into things very quickly, which allows you to draw, cycle through cards a lot quickly, but having the ability to essentially get like more draws is pretty good. So he's to promote the Kawakumon. I don't keep things suspended here, because if I do, he's going to gain 2 memory, and I don't really want him to have the 2 memory, because if I give him just a little bit more, I think it'll be a problem. He then plays Hidden Potential Discovered to suspend the Palmon to go into the Tyrannomon for free, which is really cool, quite frankly, because it just allows him to apply more pressure. But I'm not too sure if Not too sure if it's the right play here, because I think either way, like, it's not really a good situation to be in, essentially. But he does have the answer in the Metal Tyranno, which allows him to suspend my Imperialdramon for the whole turn. It does cost quite a lot of memory, but is what it is. So I go into the XVmon in Raising. And at this point, I just got to figure out what I've got to do, and I think at this point, as you can see in my hand, I have loads of Megadeths, so I just end up pushing him back with the Megadeth. So he still has the Metal Tyranno, which is obviously very problematic, because I don't really want to get another thing suspended, quite frankly, but here's what it is. So he goes into another Palmon in Raising, and then goes into a Tyrannomon here. Not too sure how I feel about it, but I think it's probably the right choice, because now he's able to go into the Metal Tyranno again to stun the Imperialdramon further. So it's pretty cool, and I love the build-up of this deck. I just don't think Tyranno has enough good pieces at the moment, quite frankly. I think in the future, I believe in BT14 or something like that, it gets more support, and I think the support's quite interesting. So I think we've only seen the Tyrannomon so far, so I think there's a lot to go on here. So he goes into the Metal Tyranno to stun the guy again. I promote, and then go get an additional 2 memory from the Davis and Ken. And so I go into another Imperialdramon here, which is, you know, I've got a lot of aggression here, just hopefully it doesn't get stunned or dies to security. I swing and unsuspend, which allows me to gain more. He swings, I swing again, hits a Kazu, and then I Megadeth again, because I just don't really have an answer. If I can just keep on slowing him down like this, I think it works out pretty well for me. But obviously, I am giving him a lot of memory by doing this, so it doesn't feel great. And he's able to obviously go into the Metal Tyranno again, but obviously he can't stun everything. So he plays the Tyranno and goes into a Kazu. I thought this was quite interesting, especially as I believe only the top end is classed as a machine or cyborg, so I'm not too sure how I feel about that. he goes into the Metal Tyranno here to stun one of them again. Very unfortunate. Please don't stun my stuff. Thank you. And I think at this point he has quite a lot of DP. So I think he should be at like 10k, I believe. 10k? 11k? Something like that. So I think he should be swinging to the Imperialdramon here. So he decides to swing into the Imperialdramon, and obviously can't really do anything, but he's going to use the Izzy and Kari to try and go into level 6 for free. Doesn't obviously get it, allows him to... He was like... He thought I had to reveal the card, but he doesn't have to reveal the card. But it does die, and I get to draw a card from the TK himself. I should be suspending that Tamer, I believe. But no, don't do it. Okay, my bad. So at this point, you know, we're at 0 memory. There you go, I do it now. I finally read the card. And so now he goes into Rust Tyranno for a cost of 1. I go to 3 and then 5. And then I go into the Wormmon in raising. I then go into the Imperialdramon mode for 4, draw, and get to unsuspend him, and then get to play some sources. In this case, I can only just play the Vmon or the XVmon out. So I play the XVmon or the Vmon here, and I get to reveal cards, and then I also get to reveal one, I think. Then I play Hell Masquerade for piercing, so I could swing into the Rust Tyranno. I think there's a misplay that happens here because I swing with a Vmon for a game, but I think at this point the game was pretty much over. So either way, good games.